We are talking about the basketball non-conference schedule, of course, that I just mentioned about a minute ago. So the full non-con schedule is released. So here it is. Starting on October 19th, they will host an exhibition game against Illinois State. Then the season truly opens on November 3rd against Jackson State. Next, November 7th against Florida Gulf Coast, one of the best 15 seeds, one of the best Cinderellas ever. Then on November 11th, things get really serious. They will host the Texas Tech Red Raiders in Champaign as the start of a home with them. And then on November 14th, they will host Colgate. Not a crazy opponent in Colgate, but they've been in the tournament a couple years. They're always that 14, 13 seed that I always like to pick when they're in it. And they just have always let me down. Then November 19th, we meet again with Alabama in Chicago. And then November 22nd, they come back home for a quick little 2-game stint that week. Long Island on the 22nd. And then on November 24th, they will play UT Rio Grande Valley. So definitely some cupcakes in between facing Bama and Chicago, because then on Black Friday, November 28th, they will be traveling back to Madison Square Garden to take on Tennessee for as the third year in a row. And then December 22nd, then they get a nice break right before the holidays. And then right before the holidays, they do face Mizzou in the bragging rights game in St. Louis. And then they will cap off their non-con on December 29th at home against Southern University. So that is 11 games, obviously not counting the Illinois State exhibition on October 19th. It is a really tough non-conference schedule, despite not having any road games in there. And it's not like there aren't some cupcakes in this schedule, right? I mean, Jackson State, FGCU, sort of. Colgate, definitely. Long Island, UT Grande. That's such a mouthful. UT Rio Grande Valley, and then Southern University. Definitely some cupcakes in there, but man, there are some tough games. 4 of those 11 games are neutral site games, being Bama, UConn, Tennessee, and Mizzou. So definitely doing their fair share of traveling. They're going to be in Chicago this year, which I really love. They haven't been to Chicago in a while. I used to play at the United Center, and I used to go to that game every year. So glad to see them not only back in Chicago, but a marquee opponent to face in Chicago as well. Because 3 of those 4 opponents that they are facing are 3. They have too many numbers. I'm just not functioning. 5 of those 11 games are against Power 5 opponents. 3 of them, which made the Elite 8 last year in Texas Tech, Alabama, and Tennessee. And the other 2 made the tournament as well, in UConn and Mizzou. So that's 3 SEC teams. SEC coming off the best year any conference has ever had in college basketball, statistically, based off the amount of teams that they got into the tournament. They're playing 3 teams. They're not gone. And they're the same 3 that they played last year as well. They wrapped up a home in Tennessee last year. They lost that game by 1 freaking point when Tennessee was ranked number 1 in the country, but they are running it back now for a neutral site game in Nashville. Not super neutral, if you ask me, but at the same time, we're playing a neutral site game against Alabama in Chicago, right? So that's not really, it all evens out in the end for sure. A lot of these neutral site games deserve quotation marks. But 3 SEC teams, as well as a Big 12 and a Big East opponent. Yes, it is Power 5 in basketball, by the way. Nobody correct me on that, because the Big East is Power Conference. It used to be like Power 6 when the Pac-12 was considered good. Maybe the Pac-12 is back. I don't know. They're like, honestly, I feel like they're like the best group of 5 conference out there. I feel like they're not really power level. But Big East, when it comes to basketball, certainly on that level still. So yeah, I mean, playing a lot of teams that they all played last year. They already played Bama, Tennessee, and they played Mizzou every year, obviously in the bragging rights games. That's not so crazy. It is adding UConn in Madison Square Garden, which is a big game. That'll be a revenge game for Illinois for two reasons. One, the last time they were at Madison Square Garden, they got absolutely obliterated by Duke last year. It was absolutely brutal. So need to set things right in front of the New Yorkers. And then also revenge against UConn. Obviously, they didn't play each other in the tournament last year, but it was 2024's tournament that UConn took care of Illinois pretty easily in that second half of that Elite Eight game there. So really tough schedule for the Illini overall. Adding Texas Tech is the other one. Starting a home and home at Texas Tech, so they will host them this year and then travel there next year. But Texas Tech was in the Elite Eight, just like Bama and Tennessee were. Really tough games. And, the rest, definitely cupcakes, really. But that's 5 really tough games for sure, especially because this is a team that's only returning 3 of their starters, right? This is nothing like the football team that we've been talking about all year. This is a basketball team that is young, has some transfers, yes, but still new to the program, young transfers. They'll be good, but some of these teams, especially like that first game against Texas Tech, unfortunately, I got to say that could be a rude awakening, right? I mean, we won't really know the kind of Illinois team we have until we see them play Texas Tech on the 11th, that being their 3rd game. So we'll see. I mean, obviously, I love a hard non-conference schedule because those losses don't look that bad when it comes towards the end of the year, right? Like when you're playing cupcakes, you're really only risking something, right? Like they play these teams close but lose. The committee isn't going to hold it against them that much as long as these teams are still, good, functional, and all 5 of them should be for sure. So yeah, 5 really tough games. Then I would say 6 cupcakes in that schedule. Good balance too, honestly. Like they're somewhat nicely spread out. Like I like that UConn, Tennessee, Mizzou are all right at the end, minus, playing one more like cupcake against Southern before, the new year. And then you start playing in the Big Ten schedule, which they've been very good in the Big Ten schedule. Ever since Brad Underwood's taken over, Illinois has had the best record in the Big Ten over that span, like against the Big Ten. In Big Ten play. That was confusing the way I said that. But that's the basketball schedule for you. Definitely some marquee matchups to look out for come November and December.